Okay, I was literally just about to go to sleep, and then the Milwaukee Bucks traded for Jrue Holiday, which was pretty unexpected. After Chris Paul was traded to the Phoenix Suns, which, by the way, I made a video on that from the perspective of the OKC Thunder earlier today, so go check that out if that interests you. But after that trade, there was a lot of hope for the Bucks kind of dwindling because Chris Paul was kind of viewed as the option to kind of save them. And then once that was gone, there was not a lot of hope for them. However, Jrue Holiday was still an option, but with rumors of the Celtics being interested in him, it seemed like there was a pretty high probability that the Celtics were not going to, or that the Milwaukee Bucks were not going to be able to land Jrue Holiday. So for that reason, this was not really expected. Also, just before this, just for a brief little thing side tangent, Robert Covington was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers, which pretty much to me all but guarantees that James Harden's getting traded, because if they're moving guys like him, then they're pretty much clearly going the direction of a rebuild, especially being that they made that trade for 2 first-round picks. So very clearly James Harden's getting traded, but that's the topic for another day. Right now we're talking about Jrue Holiday on the Bucks. So Jrue Holiday traded for George Hill, Eric Bledsoe, and future first-round picks. I'm assuming that it's going to be like a 2023 Bucks first with like maybe a small protection on it, and then the Bucks pick this year. And thinking about it, that first-round pick is probably more valuable than all of the picks that the Bucks, or not the Bucks, the Celtics could have offered in exchange for Jrue Holiday. So from that perspective, I do think that the New Orleans Pelicans likely got a good end of the deal here. And then both Eric Bledsoe and George Hill, their contracts are pretty tradable. And Eric Bledsoe, I guess, I probably would not want to hold on to him. I'd probably hold on to George Hill over Eric Bledsoe, but Eric Bledsoe also could probably net you a first-round pick in exchange for a bad contract. So you could trade him to a team, maybe even the Los Angeles Clippers, who need a point guard, so that's an option there. But I want to talk about what this means for Milwaukee. The title of this video is going to be, Can Jrue Holiday Save the Milwaukee Bucks? And that question is because I think it's important. I guess this could end up being dwindled by Giannis signing the Supermax. We're seeing rumors of him potentially being willing to sign the Supermax contract rather than waiting out to see what the Bucks are able to do next season. And I think them trading for Jrue Holiday could make that even more likely to happen. Maybe it's even possible they made this trade specifically to get Giannis to sign the Supermax, but that's really what I mean by, can he save the Bucks? I'm not gonna lie, this is my 4th video recording today and my voice is fucking spent, so if I have to pause a bit, that's why. But what the hell is I talking about? So saving the Bucks basically means getting Giannis to re-sign in the long term, and I do think that a guy like Jrue Holiday will be able to guarantee that. And the reason for that is because he is what this team has desperately needed, which is a shot creator and a playmaker. I made a point in my second to most recent video on the Bucks and Giannis and why I believe Giannis should play center, that the playmaking on this Bucks team is pretty poor. The fact that Giannis has led them in assist and almost led them in assist after the last 2 years, but led them in assist the last 2 years, the fact that that's the case is not a positive thing. It's not so much a reflection of Giannis's playmaking ability, more so a reflection of the lack of playmaking ability on this Bucks team. Eric Bledsoe is an okay passer, but Jrue Holiday is a very good one. And then offensively, he's a very good mid-range shooter and capable of attacking the basket, and he's a pretty capable three-point shooter as well. Certainly a better three-point shooter than Eric Bledsoe. So because of this, you're getting a shot creator that this team has desperately needed, and you're getting that playmaking. And then on top of that, not only are you not sacrificing defense by trading Eric Bledsoe, you're actually getting an upgrade because Jrue Holiday is bigger, more versatile, and just a simply better defensive player than Eric Bledsoe. So Jrue Holiday, huge upgrade at the point guard spot. And he really addresses the 2 biggest flaws with Milwaukee's offense, and it will allow Giannis to thrive a lot easier in the playoffs. Very often, the Bucks offense, when they ran into a team like the Raptors or the Miami Heat who built that wall defense, when the ball was not in Giannis' hands, it should have been better because Giannis was getting stopped all the time, but none of those Bucks players were able to make up for it because none of them were good creators outside of Chris Middleton, and Chris Middleton's not a great shot creator, even though I guess Jrue Holiday is better than Chris Middleton. I don't know that they're necessarily different, like better scoring wise difference, because like Chris Middleton is a better 3-point shooter and a better off-ball player, but I'd say just in terms of creating a shot off of the dribble, Jrue Holiday is better than him at that. So getting another guy at that level, at least at the level of Chris Middleton, is going to make that offense outside of just Giannis a lot better. And when they run into a team like the Miami Heat or the Raptors again, maybe this time around Jrue Holiday ends up being able to make up for that difference, and he's able to create a shot off of the dribble, get a pull-up mid-range shot, attack the basket. Defense collapses, maybe he passes it to Giannis. Giannis can be used in the pick and roll more now because you have an elite playmaker on your team. This is just a slam dunk for the Milwaukee Bucks. In terms of what this means for the rest of the NBA and what this trade could potentially do in terms of the Milwaukee Bucks winning a championship, well, I still think there's work to be done in this roster, and I still think the idea of moving to Giannis to center is a good idea, and I would workshop like trying to get a Brook Lopez for Davis Bertans trade out there, especially being that you just made a big defensive upgrade. I mean, it's not huge, but it's a pretty decent defensive upgrade. That makes me even more confident trading for a guy like Davis Bertans. I don't know that Washington is necessarily okay with that trade, but I don't think it's a bad idea if you can get a guy like that or some other stretch four that I'm blanking on that can do that and really space the floor and really allow Giannis to dominate at the position he should be playing. But even if they don't do that, which I don't think they will, I think they'll hold on to Brook Lopez and keep playing Giannis at power forward because the Bucks general managers are not watching my videos and taking my advice. If they were, they'd probably go on a downward spiral because I'm just a guy talking about basketball on YouTube. I'm not actually qualified at any level. I don't know why people think that, or people say shit like, wow, you should be the GM of my team. No, I shouldn't. I'd be terrible. I'd be the worst GM in the league, as every other NBA YouTuber or person on NBA Twitter would be. But that's a side tangent. But can the Bucks, is this going to guarantee the Bucks a championship in 2021? Well, as I said, or as I was saying when I went on a tangent, I do believe that this makes their chances a lot higher, and I also believe that there is a lot of room to improve on this roster. Still, their shooting guard spot is not amazing. Dante DiVincenzo is kind of a filler option, and he's not a bad one, but it would be nice to see a better shooting guard in there. We've seen rumors of Avery Bradley to the Bucks. That would be interesting because even more shoring up that defense, and then Avery Bradley was decent from three this year on a decent amount of attempts. So if you're able to sign a guy like Avery Bradley, that would definitely be an upgrade to that shooting guard position, and you could still keep the depth with Dante DiVincenzo off of the bench, though you are losing depth with George Hill being traded because he was one of the best backup point guards in the league. If I was the Bucks, I would honestly be willing to trade more first-round picks just to really fill out this roster, because I think when you have Giannis as you do now, and you really want to make sure he resigns, I would just put everything into building the best possible roster without completely butchering your potential future. But honestly, if you get Giannis to sign a Supermax, then your future is kind of secure for the next 5+ years. So for that reason, I do think that they should really go into trying to get as many decent guys as they can. Because the salaries I think are pretty close to matching in this deal, or they might match exactly. Because of that, the Bucks will still have their mid-level exception. They could use that to sign a guy like what's his name? Danilo Gallinari. He can be an offensive guy off of the bench, or he could even be that stretch four that I've been talking about if you were to trade Brook Lopez, or even if you don't trade Brook Lopez, maybe he comes off of the bench, but because you have him, it allows Giannis to play center at a lot in the rotation, and that will allow him to really showcase how good he is at that position. And actually, that makes me like the idea of signing Danilo Gallinari quite a bit. And then there's also an option that I have thought of, which I don't think is likely to happen, but I don't rule out the possibility, which is signing Goran Dragic. I don't think the Heat are going to be offering Dragic more than a one-year deal, so I could potentially see him wanting to go to a team like the Bucks instead, or a team like the Dallas Mavericks instead, just because he'd have an opportunity to win a championship in Milwaukee, and he's getting that one-year deal out of the way. Or I guess it wouldn't be a one-year deal on those. It wouldn't be a one-year deal on the Bucks because they could give him a multiple-year mid-level rather than just a one-year contract like the Miami Heat or the Dallas Mavericks would be. So if he is interested in longer-term money, that could be something that he does. But more than likely, I think he goes to the Dallas Mavericks or a team like that, or he just stays in Miami for a fat one-year contract. Filling out the bench and then getting someone with that mid-level exception who can be pretty decent. Doing this, I do think the Milwaukee Bucks will finally, after the last 2 years being disappointing, I think this is going to be the move that gets them over the top to at least make it to the finals. I don't think the Miami Heat will be able to beat the Bucks with Jrue Holiday, especially being that they didn't sacrifice all that much, that not anything that was really helping them too much in that series versus the Heat. I think you get Jrue Holiday in there, just that extra shot creator and really an elite shot, not elite, but a very good shot creator in there that was previously missing. And I'm pretty confident that the Bucks would be better than the Miami Heat in this next coming playoffs. And then after that, in the East, unless the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden happens, I don't think there's any team. I think they'd beat the Nets without James Harden, but I also think they'd beat them with him, because as you're going to see in a video sometime tomorrow, I don't think James Harden to the Nets is a good idea. I mean, if I ended up being wrong about that and everyone on that team ended up meshing perfectly, then probably not. But if I'm right about that team, then I will be confident making the Bucks my team to make it out of the East now that they have acquired Jrue Holiday. But that's some of my thoughts on the Jrue Holiday trade. This is kind of a spur-of-the-moment video. I'm going to upload this, and then I'm going to go to sleep, and then I'm going to wake up, and this will have 1 million views, guaranteed. If you have, I didn't do my intro normally, so if you want to support this content, I would appreciate a like and subscription. I also have a Patreon where you can give me money for extra content. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.